it's Laura, and today I'm going to be showing you how I made my cosplay of Mariel, the Harvest Goddess from Harvest Moon Magical Melody. For starters, if you don't know what Harvest Moon Magical Melody is, it is one game in the series of Harvest Moon franchise. I've always played it on GameCube, and out of all of the different Harvest Moon games that I've played, Magical Melody has always just been my favorite. A basic premise for the game, if you want to check it out, is that you are sent to a village that has gone quite dull because of the Harvest Goddess disappearing. To make her come back, you have to collect a bunch of musical notes and then give them to the goddess or her sprites, and then return her to the village and make everything alive and happy again. It's a very wholesome game. There's a lot of different mini games and aspects to it. I particularly like the mining sequences, though those are extremely frustrating, especially when you're on level like 95 and then you get sent up back to like 63. If you've played the game, you know what I'm talking about. And then you also get to court different people in the village, farm, have animals, and it goes through all 4 seasons, just like I'm sure most Harvest Moon games do. Anyway, the Harvest Goddess from this particular game has always just been super ethereal to me. She is so pretty. She kind of looks like a purple butterfly. I decided that I should definitely try to cosplay her. So where I live, there is also a festival that occurs every summer solstice, which is June 21st, to kind of commemorate it, which is a super cool little thing to do, and it's very glittery, very earthy. People sell all kinds of artisan crafts there. There's a bunch of food trucks, flowers. It's a very wholesome, summery festival, and a lot of people dress up as fairies or pixies or any kind of like naturey kind of being they want. So I decided that cosplaying as the Harvest Goddess would be absolutely perfect to wear to the Summer Solstice Festival. Let's hop right into it and show you how to make this cosplay. What I'm going to be wearing underneath the dress are a corset and a petticoat. The corset is mainly just so that I have something to attach the wings to later on, and then the petticoat is more for just adding more flair and poof to her dress. To make the actual dress, what I did is I went to a thrift store. I found a shirt and a skirt that I liked the texture and feel of. Then I put them onto my dress form and started pinning how I would like them to lay. The Harvest Goddess, her skirt has this very iconic spiral kind of pattern. To do that, I just marked where the spiral should be with pins on the skirt, and then I cut them, and then I dyed each of those panels using purple polyester dye. I started with just a little bit of dye so I could start with the lighter colors such as the lavender, and then as I needed to dye more of the spiral panels, I just added more of the purple dye so that they'd be darker color. Using some excess fabric from the cut shirt, I dyed those green, and I'm going to use those for making little garnishes later on. And some of the panels have a little bit more of an indigo shade, so I mixed some fabric paint with some water and I just painted those on the bottom of those panels. Then I just lay out all of my different spiraled panels to dry, and then I sewed them back together again. Once again, I put my dyed shirt and my dyed skirt onto my dress form, and then I just spent a while playing around with it and pinning it how I would like it. After I found something that I thought was good, I took them off and then I started cutting them more and sewing them back together again. Then I got an invisible zipper. I installed that on the back of my dress once I had already sewed the bodice to the skirt. The only thing I had left to do really was to do alterations, and so I just put the dress back on my dress form and I began sewing the lace in place. So the last part to this dress is I just sewed on some green spirals that I made from leftover fabric. And then I also made little sleeves with some plastic ivy that I just sewed on the sides of the dress. So moving on to the wings part, I'm not going to pretend that I invented this method of creating fairy wings. I'll put a link in the description to a video that really helped me out in making these, but honestly what I'm doing is I'm just following the tutorial in that video and I'm just showing you how I made these wings specific towards my harvest goddess. So the first thing that I did is I just sketched out how I would like my wings to be, just a line sketch detailing the edges of my wings as well as some inside details. The ones that I'm doing first are going to be the smaller ones that are actually attached at the back of the harvest goddess's head. So after you have your template, then you can just get some wire. I'm using picture wire, which is a braided higher gauge wire, which is pretty malleable, which is why I chose it. And following my template, I'm just bending it with my hands, sometimes with a plier if it needs to be at a small angle. So after I finished cutting all my wire and made the armature for my wings, next I'm going to be using this iridescent, pearly kind of cellophane, and you can buy this on Amazon. You could probably buy it at like Michael's or something too, but it's just easier to buy it online, to be honest. So I'm using this spray Scotch glue. It's like a spray adhesive, and I sprayed my armature first, and then I rolled out my cellophane, and I carefully placed my wing onto the cellophane. Once one side was sticking down on it, I just folded the cellophane over to cover the other side. I didn't actually spray the cellophane directly with glue just because it made it really foggy when I tested it before. And then after that, you just get a towel and then an iron, and you just kind of heat shrink the cellophane so that it will cling more to the wire in between it. After you do that, you can cut off the excess cellophane, and then using a lighter and a candle, you can just burn away and seal up all of the raw edges. Because these particular wings are a headpiece, I used some super strong glue and glued them to a little clip, and this clip will be clipped into the wig that I will wear later on. Now I'm just showing you everything that I did once again, but just on a much larger scale for the big wings that the goddess has behind. She has these super clunky gold earrings that are kind of shaped like S's. To make them, I'm going to be using some oven baked clay. I'm just going to be hand shaping these S curved shapes. I also was sure to include some packs of old earrings within the clay so that they would bake in there and make everything stronger, and so that I could put them in my ears. That's the main goal. My shape down, I then made sure I included some holes at the bottom so that I could attach my findings, so that I could include the little pendant that's hanging from them later on. Then I just put them on an oven-safe pan and I baked them for about 25 to 30 minutes. After they were done baking, I then just got some gold acrylic paint and I painted them. To make the little pendants that are hanging down from the ears, I just bought these super cheap earrings that are just have kind of like a resin or plastic pendant. They happen to be pink, so I'm just using some nail varnish to paint over them to make them blue so that they'll match the pendants that hang from the Harvest Goddess's earrings. Next, the Harvest Goddess has these very cute little floral kind of flourishes that are on her head. The first thing I'm going to do to create them is I'm going to trace the template onto a piece of paper. Using the template that I just made, I'm going to be taking my hot glue gun and I am going to place the template underneath a pane of glass, and then I'll use a hot glue gun on top of the glass. To color them pink, I'm just going to be using some cheap eyeshadow. You can use any kind of powder that you want. And so in between layers of hot glue, I just sprinkle on a little bit of this powder so that I can give these a little bit more pigment. When all of the hot glue dries, then since we did this on glass, you can just peel it right back up and you'll be left with this kind of shape. I added a little bit of fine glitter just because you can never have too much glitter when you're cosplaying a literal goddess. And I sealed everything with a bit of satin finish Mod Podge. Moving on to the fun part, the makeup. I had a lot of fun with this, as you can probably tell. I also have some elf ear tips that are made out of latex that I had from a Frodo cosplay several years ago, and so I'm going to be putting those on my ears and attaching them with some liquid latex as well. And now let's go ahead and get ready for the solstice.
Okay, close your eye for me.
Sausage is what I was spelling on your finger. They'll just make small talk like when I first come in. What have you been doing today? I don't know how to say. It's like weird. So I usually just say, oh, I was just working on personal projects.
Yeah,
creative stuff, you know?
I don't blame you.
When I say, oh, I sewed a dress today.
They're gonna be like, you what?
So I'm just like, oh, you know, just working on, you know, personal projects, relaxing. Just easier that way.
It is, because then they'll be like, oh my god, wow.
Wow.
And you're like, I mean, exactly what I told you.
What says on the tin?
I'm gonna be the dewiest bitch that ever roamed the land.
I'm already feeling myself with tape on my face and a bald cap. Modeling. I'm playing God right now. I'm gonna cut this, and when you see me again, I'll have purple on my eyelash.
Put your lips in. Put your lips in. The fuck am I? Sorry, my finger's falling sausages. You can in your lips now.
You can paint a photo of a photo. You can.
What the fuck are you trying to tell me?
You can. You can paint a photo. Oh my fucking
And what an
squeak.
Jesus.
I cry. It's okay, baby. Stop producing tears, you little bitch.
How's it going?
It's going alright. It's not raining anymore.
It is not raining anymore. That is good. Well, it's like dusting me with some water.
Oh yes, just kissing you with a little bit of rain.
That seems pretty
If I
like
had some
appropriate.
glitter, I'd be like,
That'd be awesome.
happy summer solstice to you all. I hope that you're having a wonderful start to your summer and it's not too hot and humid where you are. It definitely is where I am. If you've never played Harvest Moon, then I hope that you feel inspired now to go play it. It's a very, very cute game. Magical Melody especially is just adorable. Do you have any fun ways that you commemorate the beginning of summer? Let me know if you have any kind of unique festivities. Maybe I can take some inspiration for that for next year. Until then, I have a lot of projects in the works and I can't wait to film them and edit them and share them with you all. Thank you so much for watching my video. I really appreciate all of your support and I hope that, as always, I could maybe inspire you to be a little bit creative. If you want to see more cosplays or random creative things that I'm doing, please feel free to subscribe down below, and I'll see you with a new video soon. Bye!
Remember,